Hi, I'm Dave. We're going to take a walk around this 1989 Oday 302. It's a 30-foot Oday. This is the boat owner, Eric.
Hello.
We were going to sail today, but it's pretty light wind, so we're motoring for now, see if we can get some wind. Eric's at the helm station here. He's the helmsman. We have the pedestal coming up, kind of supporting the helm station. The wheel, binnacle, our general basic electronics here.
They're all off right now.
Yep. There's an autopilot. This is a really common, typical autopilot that you'll find on a lot of boats. So this is the wheel here, and then there's, you would turn it on. Little motor, little gear in here that makes it turn, and it would keep your heading to what you want. And some are actually synchronized with wind change, and they can change your heading. They can change your heading to the wind. So in the cockpit here, storage compartments on boats are called lockers. So we have a couple cockpit lockers. This one's quite large. It goes quite deep. And at the end of the season, you always find stuff that you've lost down there that you didn't know you had. And then back here, there's a smaller locker on either side. And then our metal frame here, there's a stern pulpit and a bow pulpit. So now we're back at the stern. This is a stern pulpit. It comes around. These are lifelines. These are lifelines here that connect into the stern pulpit. Sort of like a little safety line that goes around the outside of the boat. And these clips here, these are Pelican clips, and they clip on like that to hold the lifeline in place. There you go. All right, moving forward, well, we're still in the cockpit, but while we're right here, this is a winch, drum-shaped device to provide mechanical advantage. They only spin one way, and there's a slight little non-skid texture on them. The older winches like this, most of that's been worn off. So if you have a line that you need to haul in and you want it tighter, usually you do about 2 wraps around it. Then you come up onto here. This is a self-tailing winch, and around into the cleat. And then when you pull on it, it cleats itself. If there's kind of a big load on it, you pull and then turn it around like that, get it loaded. There's a winch handle that goes in here that you can crank it. Some winches are 2 speeds. Turn it one way, it's twice as fast as turning it the other way. So you have more leverage in one direction, but it goes slower. So moving up forward, here's another winch. Our lifelines. Here's a stanchion base supporting our lifeline. And here's the bow pulpit. The lifelines terminate up into here. It's like our stern pulpit, metal framework. For the lifelines, it's up in the bow. So there's standing rigging and running rigging on a boat. Standing rigging generally doesn't move. It helps the mast stand up. So on the sides here, we have shrouds. Sometimes you'll also hear them called side stays, like textbook definition or shrouds. So we have an outer shroud called an upper shroud. It's all the way up to the top of the mast, and that bar coming off the mast about halfway up or so, that's called a spreader. Spreads out the shroud, give it more strength as it goes up. It's sort of like a bridge truss. And then we have a couple inner shrouds here that go up and terminate usually at the base of the spreader. Here's the mast. This is what we want to hold up. Don't want the mast falling down. Our standing rigging keeps the mast standing up. So those are our shrouds. You might hear them say side stays. So we have a forestay and a backstay. So up forward here, we have that same type of wire that runs down through this. So this is our jib sail. This is one of the sails on the boat. And there's a roller furling around this. So this jib is all rolled up on here. But going down inside this whole roller furling housing, one of those stays. And these stays come down, they attach to the deck. And these are really high load high strain pieces of hardware. Come down. Here's our wire that comes down, a little bit of algae on it from there. Swage fitting, threaded turnbuckle. You would turn this one way to tighten it, one way to loosen it. You want these at the proper tension. Turnbuckle comes down onto this clip, into this. These are chain plates. And these are really strong structural components of the boat that are attached to a structural piece inside the cabin. And then all these pins here, we have cotter pins that go through. You want to make sure that once you get it set, that this doesn't start to turn and loosen up on you. We just launched a boat a day or two ago. Normally we would tape these up. We left them untaped so we could show you here what we got. And on the inside here, this other side, you have this clevis pin that goes through, and then just a different type of cotter pin. This is a cotter ring. Normally we kind of tape all this up, just some white electrical tape sometimes, or some white rigging tape. Coming back from the bow, this line here is called a jib sheet, because lines on boats that control sails are called sheets. So this line goes up to the jib, our forward sail, so it's a jib sheet. It comes into this pulley here. Pulleys are blocks. This is the jib track. Cars go on tracks, so this is the jib car. Slide it forward. You can slide it aft for different settings depending on how much sail you have out and the wind speed. You would adjust this appropriately. Right here, this is an aluminum tow rail that runs around the whole boat. This one's nice because it has all these spots here. You can hang fenders on it when you're docking. Sometimes if you have a line that doesn't have a lot of load on it, you can put a smaller block. You can tie a smaller block on here and run a line through it. Okay. So we're talking about standing rigging before. This is running rigging because it moves. Standing rigging doesn't move, it just helps the mast stand up. Running rigging is rigging that moves. Our sheets are going to move. That's our jib sheet. This red line here is our main sheet. Underneath this cover is our main sail. And it's sitting on the boom. All covered up, we'll get it uncovered later. It's sitting on the boom, and the boom is held up by this topping lift. Once the sail is raised, the back edge of the sail holds up the boom. So if you raise the sail and there's still tension on the topping lift, you want to loosen up the topping lift a little bit, or you won't have that great a sail shape. So our main sheet, back to our main sheet here, runs around through, goes through those cam cleats over there and to that winch. And again, like our jib car and traveler, this is our main sheet traveler. This one has stops that are adjustable the same way as that jib car. You pull this pin and you move it to the location you want. You slide it over and move this one. This is simple and easy. Not much to this. Little higher performance boats would have lines controlled to this and little cam cleats on the end, so you could pull it and adjust it to any position you want while it's loaded. If this sail was up and raised, you would be risking your fingers greatly if you try to adjust this. Here's a boom vang that attaches to the boom, and the purpose of this is to help pull the boom down to help flatten out the sail. So depending on the wind condition, if it's higher wind, a lot of times you want the sail to be a little bit flatter, and sometimes if you're sailing downwind, the sail will sort of lift up the back of the boom some and cause the sail to have a little bit of a kind of a curve in it, so you can tighten this and flatten that out. As we continue aft,
we have a fog coming in.
Sweet.
Due to the colder north winds, I put on steaming lights and running lights.
Nice.
Caution.
We turn the heat up in the boat. We'll burn off the fog.
Yeah, we'll blast the heat
All right, so we'll keep going here as we move aft. So forward onto the boat, we're moving aft, back to the cockpit. Right now, I'm standing on the side deck. Forepeak is up front. It's that flat, the kind of that flat area of the bow you could stand on. I'm standing on the side decks. Neil is standing on the cabin top. That's his feet there. Standing on our cabin top. Cabin's down below. And this is the backstay. This boat has a split backstay, which is convenient when you're at the helm station. Sometimes this backstay would continue right down with one wire straight down through here, and sometimes it's a little uncomfortable to sit around, or your helm station might be positioned a little bit differently. Split backstay is nice for that. It's out of the way. And more of a race type boat would have an adjustable backstay. Sometimes they'd have a split backstay like this, and there'd be a kind of a little bracket with some little blocks, some wheels on it you could pull down, and you could tighten these, and it would change the shape of the mast and the sails. And that's a racer's thing, but some boats you might see that on. Here's a companionway. Eric is leaning on our companionway seat, but down there you open up the hatch. There's some drop boards in there, and then that's our cabins down below. So we have our autopilot set as we're motoring here. See, if I film it for a minute, you'll probably see the wheel, the autopilot adjusting the wheel a little bit as we go. It's kind of cool. You set it to the compass heading you want, and it keeps it, hopefully.